It's daybreak on Arise News. Time for the press preview. A first look at what's on the front pages as they arrive. This day, Tinubu in Kaduna vows to deal with elements threatening nation's security. Higher food commodity prices push inflation further to 20.77%. And severe in Kogi, Rivers and Benue states. That's food scarcity, severe in those three states. And 1 million man march for Hurricane Jagib.
And we'll go to the Punch newspaper. The first headline in the Punch newspaper this morning: the 2023 presidency, Tinubu Obi unfold economic restructuring agenda to the north. And also ministerial retreat, Buhari backs Nigeria Air, Osinbajo laments forex woes. And also in the Punch, the NLNG shuts operations over flooding, gas scarcity looms.
This is the Nation newspaper. My plans for prosperous united Nigeria. That's according to Tinubu, who was speaking in Kaduna State. And 2023 INEC chair not under pressure to quit.
And we'll go to the leadership newspaper. 2023 presidency, Atiku, Tinubu Obi begin real battle for nothing votes. And we have met yearnings of Nigerians in 7 years, says President Muhammadu Buhari.
The international papers now. Truss faces challenge within days.
And in the Times, the Foreign Times, we'll try the 7-day relationship test. Hunt me copper could mean £5,000 fuel bills.
And this is the Financial Times. Truss fights for survival as business chiefs and plotters pile on pressure.
In The Guardian, Hunt rips up PM's plans in outstanding U-turn on tax.
Oh, those are the papers we have for today. For the press preview, let's bring in Emmanuel Bello. Good morning, Emmanuel. Let's start off with this day, and it's leading with that Arewa Joint Committee event in Kaduna State. To the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress is vowing to deal with elements threatening the nation's security. We also heard from the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. What's your assessment of their delivery?
Well, I think of all this public outing, maybe this will be one of Tinubu's best, in fairness to him. A lot of talk about his lack of cohesion and certain things, and he said really pretty things, but of course, he actually also said something very dramatic yesterday when he said, look, it is his, it's the turn of Atiku to support him. He said Atiku should actually drop out of the race and give him the support. So Tinubu is beginning to be, famous for those one-liners and things that he said, starting from the Milocon, slang or slant, to saying the sort of thing he said the other day when he called the PDP the party of termites, and then of course when he had that slip of tongue that a lot of people had a field day with the whole rotting to bad situation that his campaign said was a slip of tongue. But in this event yesterday, you can give it to him. He spoke very well. He said he was going to deal with one of the greatest problems the country is facing. That's the problem of security. Then he said something really interesting, Kenneth. He said it's time to actually fetch water from a dry well. He kept repeating that line. He said it's a dry well. The PDP will be able to spin around that and say, well, the well was dried up by your party. So, but he said, look, he's going to do wonders. That he's a change maker, that he was able to do as usual. He talks about his record in Lagos and that he has built men in the past. So those are his talking points. And like the leadership paper put it, it's all the candidates actually now trying to buy into that huge reservoir of votes in the north. Because if you can get a chunk of that vote, those northern votes, and you get a sprinkling of the other votes together, you probably have a fighting chance in this race. So that is why I think this is very, very important to them. And then, of course, the Arewa Consultating Forum and the other Arewa group who are calling them to actually hear from them. I think it's a good initiative to hear directly from the candidates, watch them up close, size them up and know whether at the end of the day they are going to back, because I think it's going to come down to them actually backing or supporting a candidate, something that Kwankwaso, for instance, say he's not very comfortable with, and so he's backing out of those appearances. But Obi was there, Atiku's been there, Tinubu's been there, and I think, this is all part of get to meet the candidate push that regional groups like this are doing. I don't know if Ohaneze or Afenifere we want to organize theirs to meet the candidate, but Tinubu had a good showing yesterday.
Now, there was an incendiary comment credited to the candidate of the People's Democratic Party yesterday in the news for what he said about the Yoruba and Igbo people. And Wike, his party chief man, has come out to say that the PDP should apologize for that comment made by their candidate, Atiku Abubakar. I'm just wondering, not so much of his comment made is being used as a blow by his opponents to give him a blow below the belt. And I'm just wondering why that is.
Well, yeah, but actually, when he made that comment, it went really viral, and there was a lot of knocks. In fact, with the Tinubu campaign even coming out so strongly to say that he has actually faulted a major aspect of the electoral law, which is the fact that you mustn't use religion or ethnic sentiments to campaign. But the PDP came out and tried to, build around that and say, look, you have to put what Atiku said in a context. He was talking within the northern establishment and was talking to them and was telling them that they need him. Of course, it's also very, very unfortunate for him to have said that you don't need Yoruba, you don't need Igbo. Anything that has to do with those kind of ethnic coloration is something that does not help, and especially for the fact that he says the unifier. So he would need to unify this country, and such statements are seen as they are divisive and all of that. But then that tells you the kind of the crisis or the color of this campaign that is going to be really bitter to the very end, and that these fault lines are going to actually show themselves because the candidates already are beginning to look like regional figures. Sadly, not for their making, but like Tinubu said yesterday, he said, "Look, it's not my fault that I'm Yoruba, but I'm presenting myself as a candidate." Atiku also said something like that. He said he's a pan-Nigerian candidate. But those comments attributed to him were unfortunate, and they tried to walk that back, just like the Tinubu camp to try to walk back the rotten to bad comments. But again, like I say, it's a pointer to how deeply divided and divisive this campaign is going to look, and the effort at building a pan-Nigerian kind of situation around this campaign. But yes, to the bitter end of it, we're going to be seeing a lot of side comments, wisecracks, and things that are going to color these campaigns.
Well, we'll look forward to those, Emmanuel. Students are getting it back, returning to schools, but inflation has hit 20.77%. The price of food in January is not the same in October.
Yes, it's not, and that's a piece of bad news, sadly, and it's one that again worries everyone, especially the crisis of food. The APC itself, the ruling party, the other, they predicted that next year is going to be really tough as far as food is concerned. So with these figures coming from the Bureau of Statistics and then showing what is the consumer price index, showing clearly that food prices have gone real sky high. That tells you that the prediction by the ruling party itself is true, and that people will just have to get ready to face the crisis of food shortages and all of that. Sadly, in an election cycle, that would be something red meat to the opposition to use and say, well, you brought this upon us, you caused it. Of course, the APC will continuously say, well, there are other things, the natural disasters, the crisis of the global crisis itself, and all of that. They will point to all sorts of the global emergencies. But again and again, opposition will say, no, you own this problem, and if these figures clearly or these numbers shows that you've not done very well. Elsewhere in the world, a government is judged strictly by those kind of numbers, and where from even government-owned agency, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, showing that this government has not got its policy around the issue of food security right, because the figures are there, they are showing them. Anybody can point to them and say, look, these are the kind of records that define your administration. These are the kind of records that shows your poor performance in major areas of your administration.
Now, I'm not talking about poor performance, Emmanuel. Let's look at what was said in the leadership by President Muhammadu Buhari at the beginning, the opening of the ministerial retreat that started yesterday at the State House. He had a lot to say about his administration's achievement, like a personal scorecard of his. And he said that his administration has delivered to Nigerians within the 7 years they've been in power. Let's contemplate this for a moment.
Well, yeah, you chuckled there, Benny, because of course, yes, that is what he has to say. He's the biggest, advertiser or marketer of his administration. He has to say something good for himself. So he's trying to show that, well, look, they've done their best and they've done certain things. He's always saying that in all his public comment. But of course, Nigerians will always rudely bring him back to some of those shocking statistics, like the one that we have on the front page of these days, showing that, look, clearly under this regime, inflation has gone from this percentage to that percent. So those are the kind of figures that belies some of these claims, and confronts it very clearly with a different kind of scenario. So you have a situation where those claims don't align with reality on ground. People talk about hardship, going out of astronomical levels of hardship that everyone, you and I, have to cope with. So when you hear the president say that, you compare it with real situation on the ground, you begin to see a disconnect that, a lot of people say that has actually defined this administration in how it has handled almost every indicator of growth, whether it's in the area of food security, like we just did that story, or even the area of real security itself. Although the president will say one thing, Nigerians are bound to think that, look, no, something else is the real situation.
Emmanuel, the I-Paper, the Jeremy Hunt in the UK is walking back on the government's decisions. It says Hunt takes charge as Prime Minister fears the exit.
Well, yeah, it's a very sad story of the meltdowns started from maybe last week at the weekend down to now, and for some people they think it's just a matter of time that Liz Truss is going to just throw in the towel and resign. It's bad because if you look at the expectations, the hope, especially during the debates, herself and Rishi Sunak, a lot of people thought, look, okay, well, this is going to be a change. She's female, she's young, and all of that, but sadly, a lot of people have questioned her capacity, of course, her programs, and with Hunt actually practically ripping off those her blueprint for the economy clearly shows that, look, she's not on ground. And of course, the Labour Party has taken on that struggle. A lot of people think that it's just a matter of time now that Liz Truss will be out the door. It's going to be a real disgraceful showing altogether.
Well, in 60 seconds, madam, where she came out to say she made a mistake and she's accepted to a mistake. Now, yes, the ripping of our economic strategy shows somewhere incompetence. Is there any way at this point in time all of this can be remedied?
Well, you can say that's very honest of her to own up to a mistake and all of that. That's good leadership. But again, a lot of people say that whole flip-flop, the U-turning, and of course the fact that she couldn't get her act right on day one, it's actually affecting real life, people's life, and they can't just take that. A government is not where you go for experimentation, especially where you have serious leadership. You can't afford to make mistakes. You can't afford to toy with the lives of people, ordinary people, because whatever decisions you are taking in number 10 down the street affects everybody in the UK. So that is where, in spite of her candor, in spite of her confessions, I don't think that should be given a light sentence by the jury. And now the jury is out there. A lot of people thinking that it's time for her to actually just take a bow.
Thanks for your insight this morning, Emmanuel Bello. That's the press preview. Let's hear your view on all the burning issues. Follow us on Twitter at Arise TV. You can join today's conversation using the hashtag AriseDaybreak.